You're listening to Love Talk Live with the relationship expert, Jamie Bronstein, only on LA Talk Radio.
Hello and welcome to Love Talk Live. I'm your host, Jamie Bronstein, and today I have with me Zach Beach. Welcome.
Hi, Jamie. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming on the show.
Happy to be here. I'm glad we were able to finally make it work.
I know. So for you guys watching, I was on Zach's podcast. When was that? 5 months?
November? Yeah.
Whenever that was. And you were going to do an in-person show because we thought that by now we'd be back in person in the studio, but that hasn't happened yet. But we just heard from our station manager. It will soon, so you'll have to come back.
All right. I look forward to it.
Okay, fantastic. So I'm going to read to you guys about Zach Beach, and then we'll get into some topics. So Zach Beach is an internationally known yoga teacher, best-selling author, poet, love coach, and founder of the Heart Center Love School and host of the Learn to Love podcast. Committed to building a world based on unconditional love and connection, Zach regularly leads retreats, workshops, and transformational teachings on opening the heart and discovering our loving nature. And you can learn more about Zach at zachbeach.com, and his social media, his Instagram is ZachBeach at ZachBeachLove. Also, I want to add that his writings have appeared in such websites as the Huffington Post, the Elephant Journal, and Mind Body Green, while his poems have been seen in such publications as October Hill Magazine, the Audeville Press, and the Chill Filter Review. Zach's formal education includes an MA in East-West Psychology from the California Institute of Integral Studies and a BS from Northwestern University. And so, Zach, I just discovered when I read that before, that you are originally from Chicago, which is very cool because so am I.
Chi-town.
Yes. Go Cubs. Are you a Cubs fan?
Bears fan? Does that count?
Yeah. I'm a Bears fan. I was just making sure you weren't a Sox fan because Cubs Sox, that whole thing.
Oh, no. But, those Cubs, they don't know how to win. Or at least they didn't for when I was there.
Pretty sure they won pretty recently, but let's get into we don't have to get into Okay, I'm sure people want to hear more about love. Okay. So, Zach Beach, do you want to just tell us before we get into the topics that we're going to be talking about, just more about you and how you got into this work?
Yeah, of course. I love love. And after some deep introspection, I decided that love is the reason that we are here on this planet. So I see my work in the world as all designed to bring more love into it. I love helping people love themselves, helping people love others, and cultivate the love that is within themselves. So I tend to think of my work in the world as existing on the level of the body, the heart, and the mind. So on the level of the body, I love yoga. I love getting people to connect to their own bodies. I found a job where I can tell people to open their hearts every day. And they think I mean move their shoulders in a certain way or their ribs in a certain way. But that's where I get to slide those really important messages underneath the radar about that love is the reason that we're here. And on the level of the heart, I love to write poetry and read poetry and do spoken word. And on the level of the mind, I also love to write and get my writings out into the world, and also just love to teach and educate others on the skills and the tools that help us improve our relationships.
When's your birthday?
November 28th. So I was born on Thanksgiving, believe it or not.
So are you a Scorpio? Is that Scorpio?
Sagittarius.
Okay, because
the cusp.
I'm a water sign. I'm a Pisces, and you just seem very watery. I'm wondering if you have some water in there.
I do like to flow. I love to dance. I love the yoga that keeps you moving. I think that life is like this endless creative process. Like every day is new. Trees are endlessly renewing themselves. And part of our task in life is just align ourselves with the flow of life, and natural creativity flows forth.
I like that you're bringing this up because a lot of what I talk about with my clients is what you're talking about, being in the flow of life and not resisting. Because when you're in resistance and not acceptance, problems occur.
It really does. I literally remember one time I was like, I need to read a book. And you might know Pema Chodron, Pema
Mhm.
Chodron, the monk. And I was like, I need some Pema Chodron wisdom in my life. And I just opened up to a random page and it said, resentment is the greatest obstacle to joy. And I closed that. And I was like, that is my new motto.
It is so true. Yeah. It's resenting. And when I hear resenting, I bring everything back to relationships. It's like resenting in relationships, also resenting a person. And it's also resenting life experiences or what is supposed to happen in life. And so, can
Yeah.
you talk a little bit? I know you weren't planning this, but can you talk about how you help your clients with accepting what is and not being in resistance or resentment?
Yeah. So obviously there's many different perspectives on what resentment could be. And it is true that we often like resent our partners for like issues that are our own. I often remind my clients that your partner is not the cause of or the solution to all of your problems.
Right,
As much
right.
as we want to dump our things off on them. But I generally think of resentment as we are resentful that life does not go our way. We are resentful that life does not unfold according to our plans. We want to go from point A to point B and there's traffic and we're resentful, right? And we can be resentful that we went to the ice cream shop and they didn't have our favorite flavor, but we also might like get a cold and we're coughing and sniffing and we had so much to do that day and we're resentful that life could put this incredible burden on us, right? So absolutely non-resistance, that letting go, that releasing is absolutely the key to finding peace and happiness right now. We have to stop resisting life and allow life to unfold as it is. And the key part of that resistance is that life doesn't go our way, is of course it stems from our ego and our desires for things to be a certain way. So we have to turn the mirror back on ourselves. We have to look at how we are resisting life, whether it's entitlement or rather it's just strong desire and attachment for things to be the way they are. But once we're able to let go, once we're able to release that attachment, we're able to find freedom and peace in the here and now.
Hallelujah. And another note about what you're saying, I always say that the universe gives us what we need, not necessarily what we want. And
Absolutely.
so we need to trust in that, like fully embody that and trust in that knowing.
Absolutely. Surrender.
Surrender. Okay, so can you talk about your book? What was the inspiration with your book? How you're helping people with it? Where it's available?
Well, I have 3 books. I have 2 poetry collections and then 1 book. My
Book.
most recent book is 108 Shavasana poems, which is literally poems written for yoga, about yoga, mainly designed to help yoga teachers read poetry as people are going into and staying in and coming out of Shavasana. And that's wonderful that you just brought up surrender and letting go, because you've done yoga, right? You've done yoga
Yes, I
once or
have.
twice. So the very end of yoga is what is often called the hardest pose of all, and that is Shavasana, where all you have to do is lay down and relax. And
It's the
that's the hardest part. That's the hardest one because people don't want to relax. We were just what Chogyam Trungpa calls a bundle of tense muscles defending our existence. And that full letting go, that full release is where we find that joy within us. But of course, it can be challenging. So 108 Shavasana poems was really designed to guide us into that place of stillness, into that place of non-resistance. But if we're talking about love, you're probably referring to my book, The 7 Lessons of Love. And you might know 7 Habits of Highly Effective People or the 4 Agreements. And I was like, I love these lists of just wonderful truth that we can bring into our life. So after years of studying love and learning about love, as I felt like I uncovered fundamental principles about love that we can apply to our own lives in order to bring more love into them.
And then you have a 3rd book, but I have a question about that one.
Which one? The 3rd one? That's
Yeah.
my oldest one. My first poetry collection is called Drinking Roses on Sunday, which is my poetic way of saying that love is my religion, because like roses, they're very romantic and you just drink up the love. And Sunday is when most people go to church, but that's when I just think about embracing more love into my life.
I love it. Love is my religion also. We can go to church together one day.
Yeah, this is church right here. This is our church.
This is church. We're doing church. Okay, so with your lessons, but I'll go over the first book also. I love that you have that, and I feel like it's so great for any yoga teacher who's watching this or anybody to incorporate that into your life. I can't wait to see it. I want to check it out. And Shavasana is my favorite part. I
It's
love
the best.
I just feel like I just get to lay there, like just really you don't have to do anything. And you've worked hard and you just feel like jello and it feels really good to get the mind and the body and everything just to like ooze. I love it.
I know. There's that shirt and it says, "I'm just here for the Shavasana." And that's me. I'm just a starfish. I'm just there. As soon as the teacher says it, I'm there.
So good. It's so good. This is just a random thought as I'm thinking, because so many times, so I teach being present and how it's so important to be present. And so I was just thinking it would be interesting to do a study because I know for me, because I'm human, sometimes during yoga class, I'm like, I can't wait to get to Shavasana instead of enjoying the moment when it's hard, which is that's such a metaphor for life. Right there.
Yeah.
So that would be an interesting thing to add to your book. Like, make sure that you stay present during your class. I know you're excited to hear this poem.
Yeah, it's so interesting. So I just taught like my first in-studio lesson in over a year this past weekend.
Oh,
And I
wow.
love to do this exercise where I get people to focus on different things in order to see what really helps them most stay present in their meditation. Because most commonly, we're told to focus on the breath. But the breath doesn't work for everyone. Some people like focus on the breath and they're like, am I even breathing correctly? Am I getting enough air? They start to freak out a little bit. So I was like, okay, spend 3 minutes, listen to your breath, spend 3 minutes, listen to the sounds around you, and then just spend 3 minutes listening to the sounds of nature and just connecting with nature. And then when we checked in afterwards, the person was like, yeah, during the first 2 times, I was listening to this bird and I was really excited to pay attention to the bird in the final exercise. And then when I got to the time we were supposed to focus on nature and the bird was gone. And, and I was like, there's so many life lessons wrapped up into that is that, yes, if you are waiting for the present moment where you're going to be happy, you're going to miss out. You're going to miss out on what is happening right now. And of course, as you just mentioned, life doesn't get what you want, gets you what you need. And that was the lesson she needed right there. If you wait for tomorrow to see the birds, tomorrow might not come.
Enjoy the birds today.
Absolutely.
Enjoy those birds. Okay. So I would love to hear from you. Now we're going to the second book you mentioned, The Lessons. Can you pick your top 2 favorite lessons?
Yeah, I mean, lately in my life, I keep going back to lesson number 1, which is that everyone needs love. And lesson number 7, the final lesson, which is that love is a lens with which to view the world.
Mm-hmm.
And going back to lesson 1, like, I don't think people realize what a fundamental human need love is. Like, we're like, okay, yes, we need food and water and shelter. And many people have like Maslow's hierarchy of needs, which is like kind of like a controversial subject. Like, most people think he just kind of made it up. And there's actually people who are very spiritually fulfilled, but don't have like the bottom few rungs of the needs, right? But we need love just as much as we need food and water. And as a result, so much of our actions, so much of our reactions in life, in our relationships, stem down to our need for love. And so many of the reasons that we might feel hurt is because we're not getting the love and appreciation that we want and need. So I recently just had one conversation on my podcast, and the therapist was talking about this client, and literally the husband went to the grocery store, came back, got 90% of the groceries, but didn't get the one thing that the wife wanted, and she just flipped out. And underneath of it was that she felt like she was forgotten. She felt like she was unwanted. She felt like she didn't exist. And whether it's the dishes or you forgot this, if you look underneath 90% of relationship arguments, it's that we all need to feel loved, appreciated, accepted for who we are, seen for who we are, and recognized as the unique and incredible human beings that we are. So I like to just think about, like, when I see people, I see them all as like little love sponges. Like when we were born, we needed love. I mean, somebody to love us in order to survive. And now we're just little love sponges. We've absorbed it, and our task is to give it to others. And that stems back to the seventh lesson of love, which is that love is a lens with which to view the world. It is a way to um, interpret people's behavior, understand people's behavior, and see the miracle of existence that we live in. Um, I This is just in my mind because I was teaching about yogic philosophy, and yoga traditionally was known as a darshana, which means way of seeing. And we translate darshana to mean philosophical school. But I love thinking about it as the way of seeing, like the lens that you see the world in. Like when you see a tree, do you see an organism doing photosynthesis? Or do you see like a miracle of nature, like endlessly recreating itself, giving you fresh oxygen, purifying the water, stabilizing the earth? Like, what do you see when you look out into the world? Do you think the world's a challenging place to live in? Or do you see fundamentally good, loving, kind human beings trying their best to get the love that they want and need in this life?
So beautiful. You should start the Church of Love. Like you should. You have a beautiful way of articulating things, and I can see you being a great teacher, and I can see you like preaching in your own way. It's like it's a gentle preach. It's a gentle teach.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes I'll do spoken word poetry performances, and if somebody is in tears at the end of it, I know I've done my job. Like
Mhm.
if someone feels touched, like I love that word touch because it means like physical touch, but then we say I'm touched, meaning like emotionally moved. Um, and that is one of my favorite places to be.
Yeah, and I get it. I mean, we definitely do practice the same religion because I do this work because I love enhancing people's lives, evoking emotion out of people. And I'm such a mirror. Like, I'm sure you get this way also, like with the tears. I mean, during my sessions, if a client starts crying, I pretty much do also, not like bawling, but, and that is such, I remember learning in school. I don't remember if it was undergrad or graduate school when they taught about this mirror thing and how it actually is more than appropriate not to bawl, but to show that you're reacting, that you're so empathetic to a client, that you care that
Hmm.
much, basically. And that is getting back to feeling seen and heard and understood. That's the best thing that somebody can feel. And
Oh,
when you see
absolutely.
somebody tear up because you're tearing up, it's so beautiful. So
No,
good.
it's so key to empathy, to feeling seen and understood. Is, you know, after a rough day, you don't want to come home and say, I had a rough day. And your partner's like, sounds like you had a rough day. I'm hearing like you don't want
Oh
the
my God.
repeating back to you. You want them to say, wow, that's rough. Right?
I
Like
just pulled a muscle on my belly. Go ahead. I'm laughing.
you know, I've heard one definition of love is when your happiness is dependent on another human being's. Right. And if I love you, I want you to be happy. And if you aren't happy, I have a hard time being happy too. And that's what empathy is about. So yeah, hearing you talk about, yeah, when my client cries, I feel it. And that's beautiful.
Yeah, okay. I have so many things to say because I also want to go back to the lens of love, but now you just brought up this other thing. Okay, so getting back to the quote that you just said that, yeah, I mean, that is the ideal, I'd say an ideal marriage, an ideal romantic relationship but here's the thing. Yes, I agree that if the person that you're with is not happy, then you feel that also. But you can also be happy in general if the person that you're with is like suffering from depression or something. You can
Oh,
still remain happy.
yes.
It's just
Um,
saying like you can feel what they're feeling in that moment.
right. You can empathize with somebody who is happy or depressed or struggling and still be tapped into your own joy and happiness. Absolutely.
Yeah. I remember people used to ask me when I first started this doing therapy 20 years ago, they would ask, And actually throughout the years they've asked, how do you do your job? Like, don't you come home at the end of the day from the office? That was in the past. Eventually I'll go back to an office. And don't you come home at the end of the day and feel sad? And I used to say, like, no, I'm because I'm a happy person, so I can separate it. Do I feel what they're feeling like crazy? Yes. But I also know how to separate that. And also we as practitioners need to be able to do that.
Well, it's amazing to be given the opportunity to care and take care of another human being, right? Like, so like a lot of times we tell couples, you have to express what you want. You have to express what you need. Your partner is not a mind reader. You can express what you want, or you can be unhappy, right? And you still some people who are like, yeah, I know, but I feel selfish. I feel needy.
Right.
And then it's when you go, okay, look, you can help your partner be a better partner to you if you tell them what you want.
Yeah, you have
And then
to.
like, oh, okay, honey, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to help you be a better partner by saying my needs in this situation. So in the same way, you know, like me being vulnerable about like my emotions, like if I say I'm sad to my partner, it gives them this really wonderful opportunity to express love and express care for me. And the flip side of that is that yes, your partner having struggles in life is an opportunity for you to grow more into your own love.
100%. Yeah, I mean, relationships, that's where we grow the most. That's where we grow. Our relationship with ourselves and our relationship with others, our relationships.
Yeah, relationships are the best container for healing and growth. And no therapist would disagree. And I love the work that therapy is and that coaches and that we do. But we have 1 hour a week, 2 hours a week, you know, with somebody. And ideally, your loving partner is there to support you and love you. And they know you're better than anyone else. And they're there to help you in your own growth.
I kind of want to ask you questions about, because I know, like,
Shoot.
I'm not going to. Well, about your relationship. Well, I know you had a relationship months ago. I don't know if he's telling it, but
I'm engaged now, actually.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
thank you. Congrats to me.
You never know. Oh, congratulations.
So yeah, I'm happy.
When are you getting married? Do you know?
Life is very uncertain right now. You know, I can't even plan like if I go to the grocery store and it's going to be open or not. You know? But soon, I do want it to be soon. I'm not going to be one of those people that like are engaged for years or never get married. It's going to happen.
And how long have you guys been together?
2 years now. So pretty new. I know. It's fun, but we're committed.
That's very exciting. And how'd you guys meet?
It was a Magic for Water. Not actually. It was on Hinge, the dating app.
I met my husband on Match.com. That's before apps. It was like literally it was the website. Hinge, that's a great one.
Oh yeah, it's really great because the main way Hinge works is it connects you to the people who are somewhat connected to your social networks. Like rather than pluck some random person off the street and pair you with them, it looks for those second, third, fourth connections. So when we met, we already had like so much in common. I wouldn't be surprised if we were like at the same events and like said hi or something and don't remember. So it's a good place to start.
And where are you guys? Did you like? Okay, where did you meet? First of all, what city were you in?
San Francisco.
Okay, and where did you guys like? How did you? I love thinking about like, ooh, if I didn't take this move and this move, like, what was like a little bit of your stories where how you guys both ended up there
in San Francisco?
Yeah.
It's funny because I thought you were going to ask how I popped the question.
Oh, I'd love to know.
And it's so funny because in COVID, it's so hard to plan anything, right? You don't know if you're going to go somewhere and it's going to be closed, right? So we had met at a kava bar. Have you ever had kava? It's a really wonderful drink.
It's like a supplement. It's like a herb that
it can be.
It's in
you also might be thinking of kratom.
I know it's like in like a melatonin thing, isn't it? Like a melatonin supplement? Or no.
It's very relaxing.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So you're at a kava bar. Okay.
That's how we met originally. So that was our first date. So I was like, you know, I'm a romantic and you only propose to somebody once, hopefully. So I was like, I'm going to go to the place where we met on our first date. So I called them, I emailed them. I was like, can I just have a private event? We're like, no, we're closed for COVID. And I was like, Okay, what's another strategy? Like, what is open? What can we do? So then I was like, all right, let's do something special, because marriage is a huge commitment. Committing to a lifetime partner is a big thing. It's a big jump. And I was like, you know what is open right now? Outdoor recreation. You know what counts as outdoor recreation? Skydiving. So I was like, I told her we were going mini golfing. And she's like, "Can I do this thing in the evening?" I was like, "No, we're going mini golfing." And she's like, "All day?" I was like, "Yes, all day. You're busy all day. You make no plans." So we start driving there. It's like an hour outside of the bay. I get a call, and they're like, "Yeah, it's too cloudy. No dives today."
Oh no.
So the
Spirit.
universe
Yeah.
throwing me unexpected curveballs.
Oh my
So
God.
then I was like, all right, we're going mini golfing now. And then I found the perfect place right in front of a big fake castle to propose. And I took a photo, and people were like, "Were you at Disneyland? Were you?" Like, nope, that was miniature golf. And that to me, because I wanted to skydive, because it was a good symbol of what the leap into marriage is kind of like, and you want to do it together. And then when we were at the mini golf place, I was like, listen, life throws unexpected curveballs, unexpected challenges, and what makes it better and what makes it doable is doing it with you. And all I want to do is be with you. So that's when I
Oh
popped it. I
my
was like, I can't wait any
goodness.
longer.
And then are you guys gonna go skydiving at some point?
Eventually, when it's not cloudy.
Wow. Was she like relieved that it wasn't skydiving? Or was she sad?
Well, she didn't know at the time. I was like,
Right, you told
because
her.
she didn't know. I was surprised, but she was like, "Wow, Zach's really sad about this event," because she didn't know. So
It was not supposed to happen on that day, but the engagement, regardless, was supposed to happen.
yeah.
Okay, so two more things I want to talk about. Just the lens of looking through the lens of love versus looking through the lens of fear. How everything is love and
Right.
fear. And this is going back maybe like 10 to 15 minutes ago. We were talking about it, just about the lens of love. And so I just wanted to add in that people can, if you can look through the lens of love, you get there by realizing that you're looking through the lens of fear. So if you're looking through the lens of fear, you turn it around and start being conscious of that. And so you can look through the lens of love. Period. Amen. That's all I want to say. If you don't want to add anything else to that.
No, I agree. There's a story I love to tell, and maybe you've heard it, but in the story, you imagine yourself walking along in a forest, and off in the distance, you see this dog. And the dog is barking and snarling, and you come to the conclusion that this is a rabid, angry dog. So you start to kind of keep your distance, and you start to kind of walk around it. And as you get closer to the dog, you see that its leg is caught in a trap, right? And then suddenly your whole perspective shifts. Suddenly, this is not an angry, rabid dog. This is a scared dog that is in pain, right? And that to me is that the shift we want to be able to make in our lives is, even when somebody's yelling at you, even when somebody's angry, realize that beneath every anger that we express is a wound that is needing to be healed. And beneath almost every movement we do as human beings, underneath of it is a desire for love. And when we do shift from living from a place of fear to living from a place of love, we're able to understand people better, and we're able to understand ourselves, and kind of also make a better appraisal of the reality of the situation that we're in. Rather than resisting it, we're able to welcome it in.
Yes, and it's having compassion for somebody, and knowing that behind all anger is pain, and behind all pain is sadness. So, and that's, I believe, how we cultivate compassion for somebody. And I like that your idea of looking at somebody and seeing beyond. I say to my clients, can you, or friends or anybody in life, can you look at this person as just a child, a sad child in grown-up clothes? Because when you're angry, or all of those emotions go back to a wound somewhere. and that needs to be healed. So if you can look at whoever you're in this relationship with compassion and see that.
Yeah, or it might be two children in a trench coat, so just be careful. No,
Yeah. Well, everybody, I mean, what your issues are going to be different than what whoever you're in a relationship, their issues are. But yeah, you have your own childhood things that you're working on, and so do they.
No, but you're absolutely right. That when people hear like relationships are the greatest container for growth, they're like, oh yeah, that sounds great. I love growing. But if you really love growing, you probably would have done it already. And really growth can be really hard. Really growth can be challenging. I think there's the quote, it's often attributed to Hafiz, like eventually the pain of being in the shell becomes greater than the pain to break out of it. And both of which reflect that much of our resistance to growth is a desire for security, a desire for safety, a desire to kind of be in the same place where we're at without needing to change anything. And relationships are the greatest container for growth because they will uncover all of those childhood wounds that you pretend are not there. And that's the challenging part. But the positive part is they bring them up for your growth.
Life happens for us, not to us, and everything's for our growth and upliftment. Everything's an opportunity for lesson and learning.
Can you swear? Okay. Can I swear on this podcast?
Yes, please. Fuck yeah.
I do love. This is a term I learned a long time ago. It's called an AFOG, AFOG, which is those times where it's another fucking opportunity for growth. Where you're like, oh man, again, do I have to grow?
Right. Well, in spiritual psychology school, we learned that those things are called stackers, that if you don't, they're just going to keep coming up unless you look at them. So you have to look at it, or else it's going to keep coming up. Or like they say, school's in session. When you get triggered, school is in session. Just bring it on. What do I need to learn?
That's what I'm saying. Every day we wake up, and whether you know it or not, this is the school of love, right? And our lesson is to open our heart. And the stacking does remind me of another Pema Chodron quote, which is that nothing goes away until it teaches us what we need to know.
Exactly. I love it. And that sounds like a stacker. And I just realized that I didn't plug my computer, and it's okay. We have 7%. Okay. We're doing rapid fire.
Okay.
Having more spiritual sex. What does that mean? And then we'll end the show. Or did we I'm just curious what you meant by that, but is it everything we're talking about?
So yeah, I did write a recent blog post about how to have more spiritual sex. And the basic idea is that almost all the principles we apply in our spiritual practice, we can also apply in our sex lives. So
you really do mean sex. I didn't know if you really meant
that. Yeah. No, sex. Yeah. Sex, sex, the sex, Okay. So, even like dana or giving or generosity, I think the best way to enter any love encounter is to think about what you can give rather than what you can get. Being present, practicing mindfulness, non-judgment, non-blame, non-shame, being embodied in the fullness of your being. These are all things we can apply on our meditation cushion, on our yoga mat, and on somebody else. And then in bed.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Okay, so once again, where can people find you?
Super easy. My name is Zach Beach, ZACHBEACH, just like you walk on a beach. That's my real name. People ask, is Beach really your last name? Yeah. Yes. You can find me at zachbeach.com or Zach Beach Love on any of the social media channels. Amazing.
And all your books are all there on your website?
Yep, all on Amazon. Yep, and you can get on my website too.
Okay, great. And as always, everybody can find me at therelationshipexpert.com or Instagram at therelationshipexpert, just the X, not the. So, Zach Beach, thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Jamie Bronstein.
Once again, such a great conversation. I love talking to you, and I hope that all of you guys out there got something out of today. I'm sure everybody did.
Beautiful. Thanks again.
Thank you. And join us every week on Love Talk Live on LA Talk Radio. Have a great night, everybody.
You're listening to Love Talk Live with the relationship expert, Jamie Bronstein, only on LA Talk Radio.